C. Consolidation. You will hear the talk given once again. This time, as you listen, take notes on what you hear.
Uh, Today, I'd like to talk to you about child language development. I know that you're all developing a second language right now, but for a moment, let's think about a related topic. How children develop their first language. What do we know about how babies develop their language and communication ability? Well, first of all, we know that babies are able to communicate as soon as they are born, even before they learn to speak their first language. At first, they communicate by crying. Crying lets their parents know when they are hungry, unhappy, or uncomfortable. However, they soon begin the process of acquiring language. Now, the first stage of language acquisition begins a few weeks after birth. At this stage, babies start to make cooing noises when they are happy. Then, around 4 months of age, they begin to babble. Babies all over the world begin to babble at about the same age, and they all make the same kinds of babbling noises. By the time they are 10 months old, however, the babbling of babies from different language backgrounds sounds different. What I mean is that the babbling of a baby in a Chinese-speaking home sounds different from the babbling of a baby in an English-speaking home. Babies begin a new stage of language development when they begin to speak their first words. At first, they invent their own words for things. For example, a baby in an English-speaking home may say "baba" for the word bottle, or "kiki" for cat. But in the next few months, babies will acquire a lot of words. These words are usually the names of things that are in the baby's environment. For example, words for food or toys. They then begin to use these words to communicate with others. For example, if a baby holds up an empty juice cup and says juice, the baby seems to be saying, "I want more juice," or "May I have more juice?" The word juice is really a one-word sentence. When babies are about 18 months old, the next stage of language acquisition begins. This is when babies begin to say two-word sentences, and they start using a kind of grammar to put these words together. This type of speech is called telegraphic because all but the most essential words are left out. An English-speaking child might say something like, "Daddy, up," which probably means, "Daddy, pick me up, please." Children begin to learn more grammar between age 2 and 3. For example, they begin to use the past tense of verbs because they've learned the rule of how to make the past tense. They begin to say things like, "I walked home," and "I kissed Mommy." But they also tend to overgeneralize this new grammar rule and make a lot of mistakes. For example, children may say such things as, "I go to bed," instead of "I went to bed," or "I eated ice cream," instead of "I ate ice cream." See, the children have learned the past tense rule for regular verbs like walk and kiss, but they haven't learned that they cannot use this rule for all verbs. For verbs like eat that are irregular, the past tense form must be learned individually. Anyhow, these mistakes are normal, and the children will soon learn to use the past tense for regular and irregular verbs correctly. The children then continue to learn other grammatical structures in the same way. If you think about it, Really, it's quite amazing how quickly babies and children learn their language, and how similar the process is for babies all over the world. Do you remember anything about how you learned your first language during the early years of your life? Think about the process for a minute. What was your first word? Was it mama or maybe papa? Now, think about the process of learning English as a second language. Can you remember the first word you learned in English? I doubt that it was mama. Now, think about some of the similarities and differences in the processes of child and adult language learning. We'll talk about this tomorrow. See you then.